Despite being online as of July 10th, war was not allowed until the 20th. During this period, Romania, the Pink Nation, quickly expanded and had become the largest nation in the world. On July 20th, Byzantium and Voltz formed a coalition against Romania. And Romania was defeated. With Romania vanquished, Byzantium was free to prosper and develop new technology. However, the Byzantines invented artificial intelligence and were then taken over by a robot uprising. After abandoning their flesh, the Byzantines built a new machine capital in Iraq called 01. Romanian remnants moved north and formed the Svalbard Soviet Socialist Republic. During a weekday war, robot super soldiers made multiple footholds in Voltz Siberian heartland. And so, on July 31st, former enemy Voltz and Svalbard teamed up against the machine uprising. For the first few hours, Voltz was tied down in Siberia. Generally, it was a stalemate, with territory going both ways. Svalbard began attacking Iraq, which started to divert robots away from Siberia. Volt's armor was then able to act more freely. Which in turn cleared the way for Volt's infantry. Also, the Cyprus Empire was invading Hungarian Italy. Lone tanks were helpless against the Voltz infantry swarms. Bazookas can easily detract them, allowing outdated Voltz tanks to aim for weak spots. Cypriot tanks began advancing on Hungarian Sardinia. One's robot Pattons continued trying in vain to stop Volt's advances. Svalbard Air and Armored Forces had finished up mopping up failed 01 attacks on the Svalbard home islands. This would allow Svalbard to double down on their invasion of Iraq. Despite having technological superiority, the machines could not snuff out Voltz's human spirit. Even during the fiercest of combat, Voltz had the humanity to pay respect to the dead. This is the power of having a soul. Thanks to having souls, Svalbard managed to take Al-Hasaka from the machines and then dug a trench. One then focused a majority of their attention to the Mesopotamian front. And so, the Battle of Al-Hasaka had begun. Meanwhile, Voltz had taken all but 2 provinces. The Siberian Front was now so safe that civilian trucks could be used to help speed up the conquest process. Machines managed to fight their way into the trench. But the Svalbard Air Force then arrived. However, 01 still ultimately managed to capture the province. The machines tried spamming Bofors to suppress Svalbard, but they couldn't aim low enough to fire into the trench. After taking critical damage from Bofors, the Svalbard Mirage landed for repairs. robot Patton destroyed, 2 would take its place, and 1 T-62 would be team killed. Once again, it was up to the Svalbard Air Force to save the day. However, the Mirage 3 was so powerful that an admin forced our hero to land so he could inspect the plane. Off camera, Svalbard nuked the Al-Hasaka trench. Once again, our hero was forced to land to make repairs. The cowardly robots again resorted to Bofors Spam. Meanwhile, brave Svalbard Katushias blindly drove directly into the enemy line of fire. Also, now that Siberia was safe, Voltz started sending help to allies. As a reward for single-handedly taking back a chunk, Martmn executed Walter. In Al-Hasaka, 01 still had not run out of Bofors ammo. Turkish agents were caught aiding Cyprus. Despite Martin's best team-killing effort, Turkish Cypriots was successfully taking Sardinia. As a last act of defiance, Hungary resorted to scorched earth tactics and tried bombing their own land. Svalbard devised a new tactic, used T-34s to absorb Bofors ammo. Finally, Voltz infantry arrived at Al-Hasaka. Svalbard then used another nuke. A Voltz command tank then arrived on the battlefield. Karl O.K., Volt's ace pilot, made a daring incursion against the machine capital. Meanwhile, robot Pattons continued spawn camping Al-Hasaka, and Walter continued sending air support to Hungary. Humans can also operate Pattons. Another Voltz command tank joined the fray. Clouds suddenly blocked out the sun, a sign of things to come. Thanks to the successful armored push, Svalbard is now in the process of reconquering Al-Hasaka. Surviving robot Pattons regrouped on the hill overlooking the trench. And so it begins, the Patton Hill incident. A lone Voltz warrior with a bazooka started running around, deturreting everyone. The hero was then banned because 01 falsely accused him of using super soldier armor. This is not a surprise. Machines could never understand the power of human spirit. A minute later, he was unbanned. Now Voltz and Svalbard began spawn camping 01. Even though his command tank was knocked out, Mafia's bloodlust was not satiated. One was forced to send multiple tanks to stop the spawn killing. The spawn camping continued for over 5 minutes. And so, the war period was over. The robots were kicked out of Siberia. Hungarian Sardinia was taken by Cyprus. Britain was colonized, and Syria was liberated by the humans. Humanity is now only 2 provinces away from destroying the machine capital. Tune in next time for the thrilling conclusion. Note, Fire Rest renamed Byzantines to 01 because he liked the war scenes from the Animatrix. They are all still humans. Also, this was actually footage of Voltz looting a corpse, not mourning the dead. In the future, we may have a sci-fi iteration with a real robot uprising.